I am Jacqueline, founder of Healthy Actions Intervening Responsibly, known as HAIR, and I am here for another episode. In terms of what we are experiencing concerning the pandemic, mental illness is on the rise, certainly for our children. As I went around my own community, counting the playgrounds, there were about 2 to 3 of them, and most of those were in school play yards. All of them are closed. All of them are closed. Those were spaces and environments that were created for children so that they might play and run and jump and even scream and yell to the top of their lungs. Those spaces are closed. And we understand why that is the case. So it makes me wonder and think about, what are we doing to replace those environments that were created specifically for children and their freedom to play? It also brings me to think about the numerous of studies and research that is out there in terms of who is seen as being worthy of playtime. Well, a lot of the results and findings tell us that numerous adults across the nation, in every background, ethnicity, race, feel that Black children are less worthy of playtime. And why is that? Black children, more than children in any other race, are viewed as less worthy of playtime, which also means they don't have access to childhood humanity. Black children are seen and held to the same standards as adults. Their time is very limited when it comes to playing. What I've seen that happens all too often, particularly for Black girls, is when they are playing, that playtime, exercise, activity is most likely going to be interrupted by an adult who then says, can't you be reading a book? Can't you be sweeping the floor? Don't you need to be cleaning your room? And on and on and on, as if play is not a serious activity or necessary activity for children. We know that children learn through play, that children get a sense of freedom through play, and that children are very often creative through play. So what can we do? What can we do about this? As we think about what is called the term adultification, which is, I usually like to use a simple definition, is when children are put in adult roles or adult responsibilities are put on the shoulders of children, which new sets of children are exposed to adultification, just even through the pandemic that we're all experiencing. And let me tell you, the multiple pandemics that people of color have experienced for years and even centuries. So pandemics, they are nothing new. They're just really shining light on what has been happening all along for people of color, for Black children. So let's think about adultification, where children are taking on adult roles and responsibilities in light of this pandemic, because their parents might be essential workers, spending more time or lots of time out of the household for the sake of that family's survival. And very often, in many cases of essential workers' households, there is a financial need that takes that parent out of the household for long periods of time. And where children are left is usually the oldest child who is responsible for manning the house, for taking care of siblings, for helping with homework, for navigating the online internet challenges. Oh yeah. So many of those families that are stressed because of financial insecurities, instabilities, they're living in poverty, which then means most likely they don't have enough playroom in their homes. There are some families where children are not allowed to play at all because the house is way too small and it wouldn't be safe. Like what children consider as playing includes running, jumping, screaming to the top of their lungs, expressing themselves freely. Well, there's a lot of limited amounts of space for families. So where will children get an outlet? How do they get an outlet concerning this pandemic that we're in? Many of the children are no longer with their friends, and many of them are no longer having an opportunity to see family members, such as cousins that they usually play with, because of the pandemic. So how can we think ourselves out of this cran, this nook and cranny, the box that this pandemic is putting us in? And so many are being isolated due to. Let's get creative. And some of that creativity can involve and include the voices of children. Asking them, how should we rearrange the house? How can we create space within our homes for recess, for lunchtime? I think the challenge is really on we adults. I believe and I have high hopes that we can make more adjustments as we are already doing during this time that we're living in. Such a wonderful message we can send children that we care, even about their mental wellness and them feeling connected, is to include and involve them in processes and asking them how they feel. And certainly we can rearrange our house that will show our children that your playtime, it does matter. Your well-being, it does matter. And that we are making adjustments on your behalf. We can do it. We are intelligent. We are creative. We are able. We are loving. We are here. And we have the opportunity to do it at this time. I thank you for being with me today and joining in on another episode of Healthy Actions, Intervening Responsibly. I am Jacqueline, your host. See you next time.